This is Alistair Gray, Clinical Services Lead Pharmacist at East Lancashire Hospital's NHS Trust, and this is a short training film for hospital pharmacists, technicians and pre-reg to understand a little bit more about refer to pharmacy and how it works in practice, how to identify eligible patients and why we're doing it in the first place. To start with, there's a short animation which gives you a little bit of an overview about what the system actually does. Okay, as you've seen from the film there's a stark fact at the beginning that 50% of people do not take the medicines as intended, and that has terrible consequences for people's health. It means that on average, as you go around your hospital ward, every other bed has someone not taking the medicines right. It's probably even worse for people using inhalers on respiratory wards. Community pharmacy can help. Since 2011, we've had the new medicine service commissioned, which has now been shown to improve medicines adherence by 10%, so more people taking the medicines as intended and getting the best from the medicines and staying healthy at home, which is the strapline for refer to pharmacy. In NHS Wales, they have a discharge medication review scheme, which is very similar to the post-discharge MUR that is done in England. And they found for every £1 million spent administering the scheme, there's a £3 million return on investment, and that's through better medicines utilisation and less waste, and also fewer readmissions and fewer ED attendances. When we were designing refer to pharmacy, it was intended just to transfer people into both those services, but we realised that we could also share information about people who were blister pack users, care home residents, and only other reason that seemed like good at the time, to share information so that the right information was with the pharmacist at the right time to improve safety. So a little bit of background, why does refer to pharmacy exist? A little while ago we were involved in my trust in the Royal Pharmaceutical Society's transfer of care guidance, and there were some core principles and responsibilities for organisations included, and that included trying to improve electronic communications with GPs and also to get the good information going back about discharge prescriptions. And because the new medicine service had just been commissioned, it seemed natural to want to share that information with community pharmacists at the same time. Since then, we've also got nice medicines optimization guidance, which actually states that organisations should consider sharing, where possible, discharge information with community pharmacists. And of course, refer to pharmacy makes that possible. We started out trying to work out how to solve the problem of sharing information with community pharmacists, and we did signposting initially, telling the patients about the services, giving them a leaflet and encouraging them to take their discharge letter away with them and show it to the community pharmacist. Several other sites up and down the country did the same, and we all found the same outcome, which was no one actually did it, because most people think of community pharmacists about places they go to buy medicines, to have medicines dispensed, but it's not a place for consultations, which is a really new sort of model. You could phone a pharmacy, and often that's done for people who have blister packs, and we used to do that, and it could take maybe 5 minutes to get through, leave the message and hope that someone's transcribed the information on a bit of paper accurately. Fax to pharmacies are also an option, but that can be quite time consuming. Faxes often fail, and there are lots of information governance problems about faxing information out of an organisation, which can result in quite substantial fines. E-referral, we're getting warmer. There could be an e-form or email, but they're quite time consuming to complete. You can also have a fully integrated system, which is what refer to pharmacy is, where everything talks to everything else. The patient administration, the PAS system is connected to refer to pharmacy, so there's no rekeying of patient details, and the discharge letter is connected as well. So what are the benefits of an integrated referral system? First of all, it's very fast. Referrals take seconds to make, so it's highly feasible to refer every eligible patient. The electronic discharge letter is attached, so there's no transcribing, and community pharmacists get exactly the same information a GP gets at exactly the same time. It's secure, all information is encrypted, so that it is, we're sharing highly confidential information, so it's as secure as it can be. It's equivalent to internet bank security. It's auditable. We can see how many referrals have been made each day and from which wards and by whom, so people can be encouraged to use the system. We can also see what's happened at the other end in the community pharmacy. Two-way communication is facilitated by the referrer's contact details being included in the referral. So if there's any queries from community pharmacists, they can contact the person who's made the referral. And also referrers get notification when a referral has been completed. It's also adaptable. It's been designed to be spread to other sites easily. How does it work? On a hospital ward, as the pharmacists, technicians and pre-reg go about their normal daily duties, they will naturally identify people who are eligible for referral. And we've got three types of referral built into the system. There's a consultation referral, so new medicine service, MURs. There's information referrals, blister pack patients, care home residents, or any other reason, which could become clear when we see the demo. And in East Lancashire and Blackburn with Darwen, we have a home visit referral system, which can refer patients to the domiciliary medicine support team. That's an optional extra for healthcare systems which have that available to them. So consultation referrals. We'll spend a little time just looking at what these are and how that makes patients eligible for referral. The new medicine service is 3 consultations in the first month of starting a new medicine or being discharged from hospital on a new medicine for certain long-term conditions. As you can see, the asthma, COPD, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and any conditions requiring long-term antiplatelet or oral anticoagulant therapy. Now, as well as looking at how the medicines are used, taken, any side effects, they look holistically at other medicines they might be taking at the time, and also look at healthy living advice, look at alcohol intake, exercise, smoking cessation and diet. And there's a structured approach to actually how this is actually taken, and there's an image of some of the questions that are asked. The different pharmacies might have slightly different performers, but they all ask the same questions. The reason for the 3 consultations is it's been shown that people's beliefs and understandings of how the medicines work and why they're taking them form very quickly within the first few days of actually starting a new medicine. And if you can get the right virtuous understanding of how to take the medicine, why they're taking it right at the time, then this will help get them into the higher category of people taking the medicines right. The medicines use review is a single consultation, but is holistic and includes all the healthy living advice, and again is structured, and there are several types of them. There's the post-discharge MUR, which is probably the most common that will come from hospital, and that's for anyone with a long-term condition who's had a new medicine started for it, that isn't covered by the new medicine service. If you've got a choice, go for the new medicine service because you get 3 bites of the cherry. So anything that's been started, anything that's had a dose change, or anything that's been stopped as well. So they might come out on less medicines than they've come in on, and they're still eligible for a post-discharge MUR as long as those medicines were for a long-term condition. There's high-risk medicines. These cover the 4 categories shown, which from the BNF, which cause more adverse drug reactions than any other group of medicines going. So when you're reviewing a patient, they're not eligible for anything else, but they're on these medicines, and the hairs on the back of your neck are standing up thinking this person is not taking the medicines as intended, then the high-risk medicines is an option for you. You don't need to remember the different categories. They're hardwired into the softwares to help you remember what the different categories are. Respiratory MURs are, again, a single consultation, but look specifically at people with respiratory medicines. They have to be on 2 or more medicines from the different categories of the BNF shown below. And it doesn't mean inhalers, it could include tablets such as Unifilin, Theophylline, or Montelukast, or any combination thereof. And if you think about it, there's probably quite a few people come in with exacerbation of COPD or asthma, and they go out after they've had a course of steroids maybe, and there's not actually any changes to the way the medicines are prescribed. But the likelihood is that there's been some sort of failure in the therapy, and often it's inhaler techniques, so a respiratory MUR would be great for someone in that category. The final category is cardiovascular drugs. Anyone on 4 or more medicines with any of these conditions is eligible for a cardiovascular MUR. Again, you don't need to remember these conditions. It's hardwired into the software to prompt you and remind you about the different types. So when we have engaged with a patient, we at East Lancashire, we give them patients a bookmark which tells them a little bit about the scheme and is intended to be shared with their carers, their family, and obviously act as a second utility to sort of keep it in the mind that they have been referred. We also show them a film on their bedside TV. If you have a Hospedia television outfit in your hospital, then you might want to follow the instructions below, or maybe fast forward on a few minutes to see the film or beyond. So this is how you turn the televisions on to get the film. If the power's not on, press the power button, which is the middle button, and then either press the information on screen button or the little yellow button down to the left of the power button. It brings the same menu up. Then press hospital information, refer to pharmacy. The film will play on demand. There's a pause and play button that appears on the screen, and make sure that the volume is turned up on the telly there. And if there's no volume, the likelihood is it's the headphones that are plugged in. And if that's the case, just make sure that they've got the headphones on. Occasionally the tellies are not turned on, so you need to register them to the patient. So follow the on-screen instructions, DIY, and then enter the name and details of the patient who's in that bed, including their date of birth, and click confirm. If you get that message up, just click the main menu again, and that will make the film play. I'm going to show you the film now. It takes about 6 minutes. You don't have to watch it with the patient. The whole purpose of this is that it educates the patient in a consistent, positive way about what refer to pharmacy is, why we're doing it, and the benefits they're going to get from it.
"50% of people don't take their medicines as intended. This can lead to poor quality of life, unnecessary illness, and admission to hospital. In many cases, these effects can be avoided just by taking medicines correctly. This is why new NHS services have been introduced into community pharmacies to help people get the best from their medicines and to stay healthy at home.
Please can I have a word with the pharmacist?
If you've started new medication for a long-term condition, you may be eligible for the new medicine service with your pharmacist. If changes have been made to your medicines in hospital, your pharmacist can help you understand these with a discharge medication review.
Good morning, Mrs. Matthews.
Good morning.
East Lancashire hospitals are the first to introduce Refer to Pharmacy, which allows hospital pharmacists and technicians to refer people directly to their community pharmacist for a new medicine service or a discharge medication review. The hospital pharmacist gains your consent before making a referral. Using mobile technology, all the information your community pharmacist will need is quickly and easily captured at your bedside. When Refer to Pharmacy is informed that you've been discharged from hospital, your discharge letter and referral are sent securely to your community pharmacist. If you wish, Refer to Pharmacy can send you a reminder of your referral by text or email shortly after you leave hospital. Your pharmacist will contact you a few days after you've left hospital to arrange a convenient time to meet to discuss your medication needs.
When I was about to leave hospital, I spoke to the pharmacist and they were helpful too. And they told me about this new scheme, which I think is amazing, because you can actually go along to the pharmacist and you can find out things that you maybe wouldn't have the time to do with the doctor. You can find out why you're taking it and what ill effects it might have. So I'm delighted.
When I'd been in hospital, I was told I'd got COPD. And the pharmacist explained the condition to me. She showed me how to use the inhaler that they'd given me, and she's also helping me give up smoking. She's given me an inhalator, and for the last 7 days I haven't smoked. I'm really pleased.
I was on a long flight home from a family holiday in America and I got a blood clot in my leg. I was put on warfarin for a few months, and my hospital pharmacist ran through the do's and don'ts of what to do, and he even gave me a little yellow book. They also referred me to my local pharmacist, something I'm really glad about, because there was so much going on, it didn't really all sink in. And with my local pharmacist, we managed to run through in great detail about what to do, what medication to take. And because I met her several times, it also gave me the opportunity to ask questions and get really reassuring and correct answers.
Oscar was rushed to hospital when he was struggling to breathe, and he was diagnosed with asthma at hospital. We were told about the new medicine service at the hospital, and when we were home we met with the pharmacist who explained everything to us, showed us how to use an inhaler. It was really great, can't recommend the service enough.
The pharmacist helped me use my spacer.
I went into hospital, my blood sugars were all over the place. So they changed a couple of my tablets and told me about a new medicine service that my pharmacist does. So I went along and Sue, my pharmacist, went through all my tablets with me. And well, I'd only been taking one at the wrong time for years. I can't thank her enough. She also told me about a diabetic support group, local, which I now go to.
मैं अस्पताल में दाखिल हुआ तो डॉक्टर ने मेरा ब्लड प्रेशर कम करने के लिए कुछ नई दवाएं शुरू की। अस्पताल के फार्मासिस्ट ने मुझे पूरी तफसील से बताया कि उन्होंने एक नई मेडिसिन सर्विस शुरू की है जो कि मेरे लिए काफ़ी मददगार साबित हो सकती है। और फिर मेरे कम्युनिटी फार्मासिस्ट ने मुझे पूरी तफसील के साथ बताया कि ये ब्लड प्रेशर कम करने के लिए दवाइयाँ मेरी सेहत के लिए कितना ज़रूरी है।
I went to the doctors just for a checkup and found out I had high blood pressure. And we had a talk about it in the chemist itself. When she told me about the tablets and what they did and which one were which, I had a good idea which they were like, but I didn't know what they did. And she explained this to me, so it was very good of her.
They changed some of the tablets, so it did feel safer knowing that my pharmacy was in touch with the hospital pharmacy. Sometimes I used to forget to take my medication, I was a bit forgetful.
As a GP, I'm very supportive of the new community pharmacy schemes, in particular the new medicine service. I look after a lot of patients with long-term conditions, and they often are taking a large number of medications. I know that if they understand those medications and the reasons for taking them, then we can help them to stay healthy at home.
With the aid of Refer to Pharmacy, the hospital pharmacy team can make sure you always see your community pharmacist at the right time, when you need them most. They will help you get the best from your medicines and help you stay healthy at home.
Information referrals. There's 3 types of these. More can be added actually if it's considered important to a particular organisation. We have the blister pack patient, the monitored dosage system, MDS patient, care home residents, and a generic sort of information only referrals. And we've specified a few. So we've got clinical trials, anyone using feeding tubes such as NG, PEGs, anyone requiring an FP10 MDA, so methadone users for example, and people who maybe use one particular pharmacy but they're now going to a new care home. So we want to send a message to let them know that they're no longer going to be using that particular pharmacy's services and they can stop dispensing. And any other good reason. It's important that the community pharmacist has a purpose for receiving the referral, and if there's something else that's not covered by the obvious drop downs, then you need to type the information into the section. In East Lancashire we have home visit teams who can visit patients in their home who are maybe housebound in either East Lancashire CCG or Blackburn with Darwen CCG. Outside of that area then the home visit referral method won't work. You may not use this particular methodology in your health economy, or you may. Okay, I'm now going to give a demonstration of how refer to pharmacy actually works at both the hospital and the community pharmacy end, so you can see how the whole thing clicks together. So when you log in, you're faced with entering the patient's hospital number. Now you can either type in the patient's hospital number or use a scanner if you're using mobile devices. Doing that immediately sucks down all the demography from the PAS system. You can see more if you wish. More is actually captured and it's displayed to the community pharmacist, such as the GP details. There's a consent statement which in English you maybe don't have to read verbatim, but it has been translated into different languages and others can be easily added. The ones that are in the system have actually been validated for accuracy. I'll put it back to English there. If the patient doesn't consent, then we like to know why, because it might be we need to change our approach to how we talk to patients and approach them. In some cases, in special cases, the patient may not have the capacity to consent. Maybe they're a care home resident with dementia, yet it's in their best interest to share that information. Most people are happy to consent and we consent in that way. Now we can see there's no referrals actually on the system for this patient. You can delete an episode at any time you wish, but let's make a new referral. You're immediately faced with a palette of options. There's the new medicine service with the different drug types, long-term conditions and drug types. And the drugs for each which are eligible are shown there. If I pick a different category, you'll see a much longer list. It's basically everything from the BNF is covered by the service specification. And again, it means you don't have to remember which conditions and which drugs are covered. You can't refer someone who's ineligible. There's the different types of medicines use review, most common being the post-discharge. Then we've got the high-risk medicines, the respiratory MUR, and finally all the different cardiovascular ones. And again, you didn't have to remember those because the different conditions are actually stated there. We've got information. There's a clinical trial, FP10 MDA, so people using methadone, Subutex for example, feeding tube patients, and this is the one which if the patient's gone to a new care home and they're no longer going to be looked after by a particular pharmacy, you can send this goodbye message to stop them dispensing for them. Separately, you'd want to send a care home referral to the new pharmacy so they knew about the patient and what they were taking. And if it's something that's not covered by that, it's mandatory to actually type something into that field there, so it's really clear to the community pharmacist why they are being referred. MDS, monitored dosage system, blister packs, that doesn't require any extra information on there, as do care homes. We'll look at home visits separately. At any time, you can also add extra information if it helps to clarify the reason for the referral. So we know who's been referred, we know why they're being referred. The final step is to find out where they're going to be referred. We find a pharmacy. Now the patient might actually tell you which pharmacy they use, so you can type that pharmacy name in there, so there's all the Bootses. If they have a packet with a label on, you can use any element of that label, so it could be the telephone number, it could be the postcode, or it could be just a word in the address description. Anything will help you find the patient's pharmacy if they know who it is. If they don't know who it is, we've got the pharmacy locator, which focuses on the patient's postcode, and if you click search, it creates a Google map. The patient is at the centre in blue, and all the green pins are pharmacies around. You can zoom in and zoom out, zoom around. You can see all the different pharmacies who offer the service, which hopefully will be all of them. If I zoom right in, you'll also see a little orange pin peeking out behind this one here, and this is the patient's GP, and it just so happens there's a pharmacy on top of it. But again, that helps to orient the patient. If that's not enough, well, we've got the little fella from Google Street View who we can drop down on the map, and when it comes up, just actually show them the building and say, look, is that your hospital, and is that your pharmacy over there? And you'd be surprised how many times you need to do that, because people just don't know the names of the pharmacies. Let's go back into a search, and for the purposes of this, we're going to use Alistair's pharmacy, which is my test pharmacy. And that's it. You can still make final edits, and now the system asks you, do you want to send a hospital notification message to the community pharmacy? Highly recommended for blister pack patients, care home residents, and information referrals, because if the community pharmacy knows this patient has been admitted to hospital, and remember you can make a referral at any point from admission through to discharge, well, they can stop dispensing, reducing wasted time for themselves, but importantly preventing wasted medicines. You'd click no if there was no good reason to tell the community pharmacy about the admission. It might be you only want to tell them when the patient is discharged, so it might be someone who's a new onset MI, and there's no need for the community pharmacist to know about the potential for someone coming to them until they actually come to them, or you can cancel the referral. In this case, I'm going to click yes. Oopsie-daisy. I can put a little reason in there because I've selected that. Hello. And then there we go. There's a referral with the pending discharge and EDL, electronic discharge letter. You can view, edit or delete that at any time. Now for the purposes of the demo, I'm just going to migrate that notification over. And if we go into my community pharmacy, when they log in, they default to their pending folder. They also have active referrals, completed referrals and rejected referrals. If I just refresh the screen, you will see we've got some pending notifications there. They've not actually acknowledged them yet, hence the pink and not blue. So let's do the one we've looked at, which is that one there. They can see who's been referred, who's referred them, and they've got a choice of acknowledging or rejecting that notification. They can even send a little message of thanks or any other communique back to the hospital, so we'll acknowledge that. We go back into the hospital, you just notice there it's gone from pink to blue, and I migrate that back in. Then if we now looked at our patient, so type them in, we can see if we viewed that there's a little message come back again. Now the patient's referral sits in limbo in the system waiting for the signal from PAS to let it know that the patient's actually been discharged and to release the referral to the community pharmacist. It also checks that the electronic discharge letter has been completed, and if it hasn't, it'll let you know so you can make sure that takes place. Let me just migrate that patient out. So we're doing a pretend discharge. In the real world, you would not need to do this because it would happen automatically. We'll go back into my community pharmacy now and then refresh their screen. There we go. Patient 2384 has been discharged, and we are now seeing it's gone pink again, so we can now view that. Same information as given as before. They can either accept or reject the referral. If they reject it, we want to know why, and then they click confirm. I'm not going to do that for this one. I want to actually go back and accept it. The rejected referral will go back to the hospital pharmacy to deal with, either to abort or to refer on to a different pharmacy. So let's accept it this time, and there it is, 2384. When you view now, you have this link here which allows you to view the discharge letter. So the community pharmacist will receive exactly the same information at exactly the same time as the GP. It'll show diagnostic information, procedural and follow-up, which will help inform any conversations they have, and they might even be able to support any follow-up. It'll show, well, it depends on the structure of your letter, but it'll show what's been started, stopped and changed and why. At the bottom we've got the table of the current medicines. So for information referrals, they would update the PMR and wait for the next FP10 to come from the GP to check to see whether the two things match. And if they don't, then they can get in touch with the GP to find out why and see if it's intentional or not. For consultation referrals, they've got the time to prepare for the discussion to talk about the side effects of whatever it is they want to talk about, or to conduct the MUR or the NMS. Just close that down. Once they've done whatever they're going to do, we want to know a little bit more. We want to know what happened. Did they complete it? Were they unable to complete it? Was it at home or was it in the pharmacy? If they couldn't complete it, then there's some options to say why they couldn't complete it. I'll just select that one there. They can leave additional notes if they desire. Then we ask, did this information prevent an unintentional prescribing error from the next GP's prescription? Yes, there was. The information on the prescription was correct. The GP intentionally decided not to affect the changes, or there were no medicine changes on this particular referral. It covers all eventualities. Whichever one they pick, they've got the option of writing a few words just to sort of underpin that. We're particularly interested, obviously, for ones where there was an error. Then, has it saved them time? Has it cost them time, or was it cost time neutral? If they click save time or cost time, they'll be asked to just say how many minutes it saved them. Similarly, has it reduced medicines waste, or has it caused additional medicines waste? We want to know both sides of the story, or there was no effect on medicines waste. And we'll just ask how many items were not dispensed as a result, because we'll be able to tot that up in due course and see across the health economy the value in terms of waste reduction. Updating the referral takes it from the patient's active folder to their completed folder, so they can still actually see the referral details, but it's not cluttering up the live view, which should only have patients in who are actively doing something with, or they're waiting for the next FP10 to arrive. So I'll show you how quick the system is to use to illustrate the speed and how it's possible to refer every eligible patient. So I've got a patient lined up. I'm going to consent them and make a blister pack referral to Alistair's pharmacy and send a hospital admission notification. So if you have a stopwatch, then you may want to get one out, and I'll give you the countdown. 3, 2, 1, start the clock. So we'll consent them, continue, make a new referral. It's going to be a blister pack. Find a pharmacy, type in Alistair's pharmacy, there it is, confirm that, and hospital notification. Stop the clock, please. You will see how fast that was. Obviously, I was trying really quickly to do that. In reality, it probably takes people 15 to 20 seconds to make an average referral. Demonstrate the home visit referral method. This obviously doesn't apply to everyone if you don't have a home visit team, but so fast forward to the end of this part of the training video. We've actually got a patient dialed up here who's got a referral already on for a community pharmacy, so multiple referrals are possible. So I'll click new referral, and we'll consent the patient, and in this case I'm going to click home visit, complete the referral, and this brings up an e-form. So very much like the community pharmacist, it's very important that the domiciliary team understand why this referral is being made. So there are a variety of pre-populated options. One must be picked because it's mandatory. If they're not covered by that, you've got other which you can then free type in. If the patient has particular difficulties you want to relate to them, then one of these boxes can be ticked. And if they've been referred to any other team, if you happen to know about it, it's not critical if you don't, you can tick that. If you click other, obviously the team appears. And you can free type any extra information which helps to support that referral. The second and final page is all about the patient. Who's responsible for looking after the medicine? Is it the patient themselves? Yes. Nothing happens? No. Well, the information drops down to capture who is responsible. If who should be contacted to arrange the meeting? The patient? Well, if you click yes, it has to be. If you click no, you've got an option of the patient or the person above. There's a little bit about accessing the building, how to get in if you know that there are problems. And does the patient want anyone else present? If you click no, nothing happens. If you click yes, then you can capture extra information there. The final section is, are there any risks that the team going out might need to know about, such as potential violence, so they might need to go in pairs rather than in singles. Once you've completed that information, click Save. Oops, I need to click that. Mandatory. Click Save. And you've got two referrals on the system, one to the community pharmacy and one to the home visit team. Okay, you've seen a demonstration of both the hospital and the community pharmacy ends of the system. It's worth just mentioning how the community pharmacy is made aware of a referral coming through. They can either receive a fax, a text and/or an email notification. Basically, it's just to get them to take some action and make them aware that there's either a hospital admission notification or a discharge notification waiting to be acknowledged and actioned. No patient information is found in that. It's really just a prompt to actually take action. So a couple of little things to think about. What if the patient's details are wrong in the patient administration system? We'll probably need to speak to a ward clerk about that, because the system takes a direct feed from PAS, and PAS needs changing. Rejected referrals. There is a rejected referrals folder on the system, which allows you to view at regular intervals patients who have had their referrals rejected. You can either abort that referral or refer them on to a new pharmacy. Unacknowledged referrals. There's a report that's available to the hospital team and also the LPC team, which allows you to see which referrals have not been acknowledged in a given time period, and that allows prompts to be taken with the community pharmacies to give them a phone really to say, look, do you know you've got a referral in the system, would you mind going in there and acknowledging it and taking the necessary action? If you get any queries from community pharmacies, then just deal with them as best you can. Some other little things, there are some auditing and benchmarking tools in the system, and they're designed to really show which wards and from which individuals the referrals are coming from, so necessary action can be taken to either support people if they're not using the system properly, or to provide some praise for using the system properly. Similar tools are available to report outcomes from the community pharmacy end, so you can actually see the whole outcomes of anything that's actually happened. In East Lancashire, the CPPE provided some structured training when we went live. That training is available for other health economies to use as well. It focuses a little bit about how the system works, a little bit about the structure of discharge letters, and also it helps them to hone some of their consultation skills. There's also an online package which you can see there for transfer of care out of hospital, which both is useful for hospital and community pharmacies. Manchester University are currently doing a service evaluation of the scheme, so we want to be able to show to people independently the benefits that the Refer to Pharmacy brings. And finally, the Royal Pharmaceutical Society have been very supportive of the whole scheme. They produced a toolkit, which you can see down on the right there, which helps health economies to implement a referral system. And also I was involved in producing this with the Pharmaceutical Press, the Clinical Pharmacy Pocket Companion, which was designed with medicines optimization in mind for both hospital and community pharmacists, so that as patients transfer across the interface, they can get the same positive messages about how to get the best from the medicines. A little bit about the Refer to Pharmacy philosophy. Every eligible patient should be referred. It's not up to us to decide who is eligible or not. If they fit the criteria for the new medicine service or an MUR, they're a blister pack patient, they are a care home resident, or there's some other really good reason to refer them, then we should refer them to get the benefits of the scheme. What's your potential? I can illustrate this with an East Lancashire slide. We discharge or authorise between 120 and 150 electronic discharge letters each day. If they were made up of with 10 blister pack referrals, 10 care home, 10 information, 20 new medicine service and 20 MURs, that potentially could give you 70 referrals a day. Well, times that by 5 days a week and 52 days in the year, and you get a very large number, which is a minimum, because obviously the system also works with weekends and bank holidays, and that's before you add in home visit referrals as well. For my organisation, a 1% reduction in readmissions would mean 80 fewer people coming through the doors each year, which would be 80 people getting the best from the medicines and staying healthy at home. And that's one of the reasons that we've actually developed a scheme from the hospital point of view, to try and reduce demand. This graph shows how referral numbers have taken off since we went live on the 29th of October 2015, gradually increasing into the few hundreds, then really taking off in July and August. And that's because we got the audit tool that showed which wards and from which individuals referrals were being made, and it allowed us to have sensible conversations with people about using the system, and we kind of breached the 1,000 barrier in October. This shows a little bit about how referral numbers have been made up. Since go live to the end of January 2017, just over 7,000 patients have been referred, and that is our busiest week and busiest day. And this gives a breakdown of the referral types. Considering the system was designed to aid MUR and NMS referrals, actually it's blister pack patients who are most common or most prevalent referral type, and it just reflects the nature of the patients. Mentioned our philosophy. There's a second philosophy: every referred patient accepted. And that's really because every patient that gets referred out, there is a story to tell with each of them, some action to be taken in the community for each of them, which will benefit the patient and also benefit the community pharmacist, so that there is something in it for everybody. Some of the information we've been getting back from the community pharmacies is shown here. We did a deep dive in the information up to the 5 weeks up to the end of September. Originally, we were asking community pharmacists to share their thoughts on the likelihood of readmission to hospital, and you can see how that's panned out. Well, we've realised we don't actually need that information because we can objectively record that from the PAS system. At the moment, Manchester University are looking into the referral database and comparing it with the admissions and discharges database to see how that actually pans out. Now, we've found some curious things out. The average age of a referred patient is 78. The average age of someone who's been discharged is 49. Average length of stay of a referred patient is 9 days compared to 4 days for the average. So we are referring the sickest, oldest, poorest, most vulnerable patients, so they are likely to have a higher prevalence of readmission. Hence we need that academic sort of input to help understand the data. 602 referrals saved dispensing time, and 628 referrals reduced medicines waste. Now, unfortunately, we weren't asking them to quantify at the time how many minutes and how many items were saved, but now the system is configured to do just that, so we and you will be able to report on that. An early signal was found by looking at just raw readmissions data at 28 days from medical wards and for the same diagnosis. So for the first 7 months of 2016 compared to 2015, there was a 0.6% reduction, which equated to 60 fewer patients actually being admitted in that time. And if you look at Lord Carter's report on unwarranted variation in the NHS, it costs £3,500 per patient episode to house them. So that potentially is a large number when it's annualised. And when you consider that there was not so many referrals actually being made in that period. The system is also award-winning. It's won or received 4 awards, I beg your pardon, so far. And that's all about us trying to sort of share the innovation with others and make it apparent that it does what it says on the tin. It is the Ronseal of referral systems. There are social media feeds to keep people up to date with Refer to Pharmacy news, and you can follow it on Facebook, Twitter, and there's a mobile app which is regularly updated with new information. If you have any problems with the system, if you have any good ideas for developing the system, then please tell us. In East Lancashire, we've produced a little checklist at the point of discharge to make sure that every eligible patient has been referred, and we check that the discharge letter system has been updated. We use ICE. That any medicines requiring ordering on the electronic medicines management system have been ordered, and if the patient's eligible, have they been referred to the community pharmacy. In East Lancashire, the system is open from the systems menu by clicking on Refer to Pharmacy. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.